It is Sunday, November 2nd, 2025, and this is the final World Series edition of Baseball Today. It is presented to you by Mountain Dew Baja Blast. Looking for a refreshing citrusy kick? Go grab yourself a Mountain Dew. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan, and intern Sawyer along for the ride as well, as we just concluded watching one of the great Game 7s in sports history. Forget about baseball history, sports history, and one of the great series, obviously, in recent memory. How the hell you doing, dude?
I am at this point now. It's starting to dawn on me what we just saw immediately afterwards. It's just you couldn't describe that. So much happened in this Game 7, let alone in the series. Chris, I felt like it was a bunch of mini series all in one. And then in this game, of course, we go to extras. Of course, I got to give you some flowers, saying that Yamamoto was going to pitch. We'll get into it, but my goodness. Jake said this about Toronto fans I thought was really important. He goes, they're never going to understand how beautiful this series was.
Nope.
Because for them, it's just not that.
Nope.
But for the Dodgers fans, yes. But the casual people who didn't have a team, a dog in the fight, like this was everything you could ask for in a postseason series, and especially in a World Series.
We will give our tip of the cap to the now two-time defending champion Los Angeles Dodgers, who become the first team in a quarter century to win it in back-to-back. That's why I'm wearing the Dodger lid tonight, for those of you that are audio only. I was out to dinner celebrating Josh Rose's 25th birthday, and we were watching, and we were out with Michelle and a couple of his boys, one of whom is a diehard Dodger fan. So we both had our phones synced up to the stream, which was 10 seconds in front of the TV that was playing at the bar. Okay, so this is good news. We were ahead. So we were jumping up and down, and we're upstairs, and we could hear the bar. We were like waiting for the bar's reaction. And on the Miggy Rowe homer, I just want to tell you, the place went nuts. People could say whatever they want about Los Angeles being sports fans. They're very good Laker fans. They're very good Dodger fans. They were really into this series. And it was kind of fun being out, even though I was just a huge baseball fan getting ready to tape another podcast.
Yeah, we had some people over tonight. I was asking my buddies, most of them obviously Dodger fans, were in LA. We're asking where we're going to go. I ended up hosting people over here. We had a taco guy, very
Nice.
Quintessential LA.
Yeah.
And I had a situation like you just said, where the guys were outside watching, and the girls were inside watching, and their TV was just like a millisecond ahead. So we heard their reaction first in some of these big situations. But yeah, man. Honestly, like I was on such a high, and now I'm like kind of exhausted now.
Well,
like,
it doesn't matter. Let's pick it up.
What do they call it? The adrenaline dump?
Yeah.
Ow, I'm done.
No, you're not. Let's pick it up. It's the last time we're actually going to be talking about a baseball game for quite some time. So let's get to it. And we will start in the very final frame. Of course, the Dodgers end up taking a lead on a Will Smith homer. And Yamamoto, of course, he now works multiple innings, throws nearly 35 additional pitches, the last of which got two.
Bounces one up the middle, bats to the bag, over to first to beat the champ. You gotta knock him out. The Dodgers stand tall and win back-to-back titles.
The Dodgers have been doing so much for baseball the last 2 years. People should be really proud of the organization. Traveling, making history, playing the longest season ever. We just played for 9 months. We started the year in Japan, and now we're finishing the year here in Canada. We can't wait to go out there in LA and represent our fans and bring you the trophy again, back-to-back for the first time in 25 years.
Yeah, pretty remarkable stuff from Miguel Rojas. But let's talk about the guy who was the MVP.
God, Mookie.
I know, Mookie. The reaction shots slowed down are just so sensational to see. And I've been fortunate enough to hand out the Commissioner's Trophy 3 times. I did it 2009, 10, and 11. And it is so interesting because so much of sports is big business and billions and billions of dollars being spent on TV contracts and player salaries and everything else. But in that instance, it all boils down to their love of the game and what they will do for one another. And it is so much fun to watch, man.
I mean, yes. Either side, I mean, both sides should be very, very proud of how they played. Like sometimes I think more so Toronto with how they
Much
played
more.
and came back, but also the Dodgers, down to their last freaking half inning, Miggy Rowe doing it. It just the improbable guys who we always talk about, like having these postings, they happened. Miggy Rowe happened. Ernie Clement happened. The list goes on and on. It is. I don't know. I'm running out of words to describe what we just saw. Seriously, I have my notes in front of me from just this game alone, and there is so much.
Well, can we start with the guy who ended up getting the World Series MVP because he picked up 3 wins
3
in the
wins.
series, Yoshinobu Yamamoto. And I know that maybe you thought I was joking because I was wearing a clown outfit on yesterday's show when I said I think he's going to come in. I did not expect him to be able to give them the length that he did. He ended up throwing 34 pitches. He worked 2 2/3. He wiggled out of jams, whether they were inherited or by his own undoing. He got this remarkable play by defensive replacement Andy Pages, who probably would have been called if this game had been played on Sunday afternoon on CBS, probably would have been called for pass interference. And he just did a remarkable job and showed absolutely zero fatigue.
Yeah, I mean, you were totally right about this. I knew that there was a chance he could throw. I just didn't think it was very likely. Again, 94
No.
pitches.
You said there was no. Let's make this very clear. You said there's no chance.
Okay, fine. That's fine. I don't care. I can be wrong about this. I have no problem being wrong about this because guess what? I'm just used to, I guess, Americans and even all the Latin players, and I'm not used to the Japanese dudes who can just throw forever. Okay, is that not the truth? Like that's part of their culture. A lot of people mention that to me today on social media. Like, in Japan, he would throw 140 pitches, and like they're built up differently. They view pitching differently, and I guess that's part of the reason he was always raising his hand saying, I'm good to go, coach. But 94 pitches the night before, coming back and doing what he did. I put it out there, Chris, and I'm curious to hear your take because this is a very Chris Rose comment I made. But I think that you have such a great grasp on baseball history. I hold Madison Bumgarner's 2014 in the highest of regards.
Mm-hmm.
I think Yamamoto just eclipsed it in 2025.
What
say you?
I think it's possible because to do it in Game 6, it was to stave off elimination. He had to be that great with a team that didn't have options behind him. I think that's the biggest thing is that if the Dodgers had elsewhere to turn, they would have done that, and they could not do it. The amount of pressure that was on Yamamoto because they lost Game 1 in the series, so what did he have to do Game 2? He had to shove. He did that. Dodgers didn't know where they would turn. They didn't have to. He threw a complete game. And then a couple nights later in an 18-inning affair, he's down there getting loose. And we're all like, what are we seeing? Why is he getting loose? He can't pitch. And then the Dodgers lose games 4 and 5 at home. They get on a plane. They go back to Toronto where their joint is jumping. They're getting ready to celebrate a World Series victory for the first time in over 3 decades. And he goes out and he shoves again. And he gives them length. He gives them distance. And then he comes out here when Blake Snell was okay. I mean, he gutted through. Tyler Glasnow.
Blake Snell made some really good pitches.
He certainly did.
Really good pitches.
Tyler Glasnow saved their ass. He also gave up a run. They didn't have the ability to use Clayton Kershaw, who's another starter. They just couldn't. They knew it. They couldn't afford to throw him out there.
He was coming in, coach. He was coming in.
Emmett Sheehan came in and threw 1 inning, got a couple of strikeouts, wiggled in and out of trouble again with him. He was the most and I guarantee you this. They could have gone to Roki. They could have, but they didn't. He threw, 34 pitches in Game 6? And they still trusted a guy who almost threw 100 pitches the night before more. This is one of the great efforts in the history of the game, in part because it could have been easy for him to say, you know what, guys, I'm the last resort. I'm the last resort. They could have gone to other guys. They could have gone to Blake Trinan, who's done it for him multiple times. Not this year, but in multiple times in seasons past during championship runs. They could have gone, they had a Henriquez, he has shown at times. Klein, they could have gone. They went to the guy who threw almost 100 pitches the night before. That's big. That's putting your boom right on the table.
Yes, it is. And I think that's why he went there. It wasn't like, hey, I'm going to do this because you're our best pitcher right now, which it was that way. But you can't do that unless Yamamoto's like, yeah, I'm your guy. Like, he has to vocally come and say, I am ready to go. And you have to mean it. You can't just say, yeah, I'll throw. It's different. Like, he's volunteering to throw in that 18-inning game. He's saying, I'm available again after 94 pitches.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to be the guy, and it has to be sincere. And it was because he does work hard, and his routine is incredible, and he has built himself up where he has the shoulder mobility and the flexibility and the strength to be able to do this. I mean, if you've ever pitched, you know how sore your arm is the next day. I mean, throwing 94 pitches, like, you're going to be sore, but he came out and was blowing guys. He was throwing 97, Chris. His stuff didn't even tick down, really.
I want to give Dave Roberts a little bit of credit.
Yes.
Because he said right after Game 6 that he was not, Yamamoto was not going to be available. He said everybody's available except for Yamamoto. And I think that in the back of his head, he was thinking, I want him to come to me. I don't want to put it out there and make it seem like, well, we'll see how he's feeling and we'll ask him. Because then it goes to Yamamoto and, hey, wait a second, Dave asked you and you weren't ready. Instead, it allowed Yamamoto to go to Doc and say, dude, I'm here for you, and I'm here for these guys. And
That's a good point, Chris.
And a year ago at this time a year ago plus, before the Dodgers were world champions again, people wanted to get rid of Dave Roberts. And even this year, when the bullpen was struggling, when he couldn't find the right combos down the stretch, when the offense was struggling, Dave Roberts stinks. He made every big move in Game 7. Every big move that he had to make. The only one I was going to be critical of, I thought Shohei looked gassed.
Yeah, he didn't look good.
He looked gassed after the second inning, and the fact that he dodged some bullets early, I would have said, I know that it's probably about 2 innings too early. I would have gone to somebody else. But other than that, Dave Roberts was masterful, did a really good job. So stop. I don't want to hear any more of my Dodger fans sending me texts. No more. If next year, if you have anything to complain about with Dave Roberts during the regular season, the managerial moves he makes, zip it. It's going back to sender.
No complaining about anything. Okay, nothing. Like, just smile and have fun, because what you have here is basically an entire roster returning. You are in the golden age of your franchise, essentially. If a freaking Dodger fan tells me you didn't watch 162, this team isn't that good, we knew it all along. I should. I'm not a person that saves receipts or whatever they call it. Like, I should have. All these ridiculous Dodger fans complaining. You're a Guardian fan. I'm a Twins fan. If these guys are complaining, what should we be doing?
I know. The fact that they did win the World Series, I think, with their B game at times. I don't think there's a question about that. But you're right. It's certainly nothing to complain about. Let's continue on. Did you think that Ernie Clement had won the World Series when he blasted that ball left center field?
Absolutely, especially when Pages was not in the shot yet and Kike was twisting around like he had no idea where the ball was. Like, right about here, I was like, oh, it's done. And I told Jake this. I was like, I didn't realize how much bigger Pages is than Kike until that play.
Right. You're right about
right.
If Tommy Edman's still in the game, I think the Blue Jays win the World Series.
And you know what? Neither of them knew where the other one was, because they're both very fixated on the ball. Obviously, they have to catch it or the World Series is over. Plus, when the dome is closed like that, you really have to track the ball the entire way. So Paz, I don't think knew Kike was there. I don't think he was calling him off. I think he was saying, I'm going to go get this ball. And Kike was like, oh gosh, like, I hope I just get my glove around it somewhere, because he was twisted and turned in the wrong way. And Plouffe, who came in the middle of that inning,
Mm-hmm.
Dave Roberts pulling the string.
Yep.
Incredible, man. Like, that was Ernie Clement. Again, I talked to Jake about this, but I thought I had a really good thought here. Plouffe stole eternal glory from Ernie Clement.
Yeah.
We would have been talking about him the way we talk about Joe Carter, the way we talk about Luis Gonzalez, guys to walk off World Series who we just know their names. Plouffe stole that from Ernie Clement, man.
Well, do you know that Ernie Clement had 30 hits in the postseason, which is the most ever? I get it. They play significantly more games than they used to, but we understand that. Here's the deal. Ernie Clement, before he got to Toronto, never had more than 30 hits in a single season in regular season baseball. And he did it in a 3-week span. And he didn't even play the freaking wild card series. It just goes to show you, like, that was just one piece of the Toronto story. The Blue Jays had a 1-run lead going into the 9th, and we knew that Shohei was at least going to get an at-bat, and he was going to get it against Jeff Hoffman, who has really been nails throughout the postseason. He gets a quick out of Kike, and then up steps vaunted home run hitter Miguel Rojas.
Payoff. Drilled to left field and deep, and gone! No way! Miguel Rojas! The guy hadn't had a hit in a month. And in the 9th inning of Game 7, he's hit a tying home run.
Yeah, I mean, I cost everybody in here a World Series ring, so it was pretty just gotta execute better in that spot, and not let that happen.
That is, you talk about like the juxtaposition of what we just saw. Miguel Rojas saving one team's season with as unlikely a home run as you can remember. And Jeff Hoffman sitting there saying, I cost everybody in here a World Series ring. It's just, you want to smile on one hand, and you want to cry on the other.
I don't know, man. Yeah, it is tough. That shot of Dave Roberts is incredible right there, man. Like,
hands on the head.
Couple things. Number one, Miggy Rowe, he has more to do in this game after that home run, which we'll get to. 3-2 pitch. I thought there's no way he's getting anything but a fastball with Shohei on deck. And I think him and Hoffman and Kirk maybe outthought themselves a little bit there. They go with the slider and tries, I guess, he just throws it for a strike, and it's not a good one. And Miggy makes him pay, and you have to give Miggy credit, because I guarantee he thought he was getting a heater too. He was out in front of that pitch a little bit, but keeps the hands in just enough, keeps the hands back just enough, and here we are, man. I don't think it was a bad thought to throw the slider, but it was definitely in the wrong spot.
Miggy Rowe, we talked about it. He hadn't started since the wild card series before Game 6, and he comes up with a handful of wonderful defensive plays, including the coup de grace to end Game 6, where he basically catches the ball behind him to finish off a double play. And then here, once again, more great stuff from him. Got a knock earlier in the game to get his first ever World Series hit, because last year he was banged up and wasn't a part of that, even though he was very much a part of the team. And here, a home run. He said after the game, I think that was my first one against a right-hander. I believe it ended up being his second one of the year against a right-hander, if I'm not mistaken. But holy, I can't remember a more clutch, unexpected home run. And, Yankee fans might say a Scott Brosius. Scott Brosius used to hit some home runs. Miguel Rojas has been like a single-digit consistent home run guy throughout much of his career, and now he's 36 years old. I can't imagine what the hell the fan base was going through at that point in Toronto.
We always talk about unlikely heroes, man. We do, and yeah, I don't know what Toronto's thinking right there either. I don't think they were even focused on Miggy Rowe whatsoever. All they could think about was the guy hitting behind him, and probably Hoffman and Kirk thought the same thing. You know, you call them look ahead games in football, like that was a look ahead AB, where they were just probably focused on Shohei. He ends up, again, not executing like he said, and Miggy Rowe, I mean, yeah, I don't know where it goes from here from him, but like he's a postseason legend from here on out. You can't take that away from him.
Right. Because the narrative around him has been so much of what he excels at, we don't get a chance to see. The ability for him to lead in the clubhouse, there's no stat for that. That doesn't get factored into WAR. The guy who can rally troops, we don't ever see that. That shit happens behind closed doors. The guy who has been the shortstop whisperer for Mookie Betts, those are Mookie's words, not mine. None of that stuff we get to see. So finally, the last two nights for a guy who has had to grind to get to where he is, who didn't, it took him 11 years to make it to the major leagues. And he has had to work. And I know that a lot of the stuff that was said about him earlier this year bothered him. It hurt him because he has been such a team player. I'm happy that he let his play show how valuable he is. So for people that are going to sit here and say, well, the only reason you're on the team is because you're a leader, which I don't ever diminish, but now he can point to that moment, part of baseball history, and give him the old double bird if he wants to.
He made himself a lot of money in 2 games.
No, he didn't.
Oh, yes, he did.
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think
yes, he did.
I think he's going to be valued exactly what he is. And
I think you could make a case where he'd have to possibly accept a minor league contract going into next year, entering his age 37 season.
Oh, wow. You think it was that bad, huh? See, I didn't think it was.
I'm just saying, I think he at least added a year onto a contract where he might get a 2-year deal. Maybe gets a 3-year deal now.
Well, he already said that next year is going to be it.
Okay. Well, I guarantee he earned himself some dollars.
Well, you know what? I hope I'm wrong, and I hope you're right, because he deserves it. And that frickin' was absolutely incredible. Let's get to the defensive play in the 9th inning, where he's playing second base. He moves to his right. He stumbles on the Varsho play, gets up, throws a strike. That's a shortstop arm thrown home, by the way. And somehow Will Smith tap dances around the plate but gets his foot back on. That was unreal.
Deep breath by him right there. Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult play. Obviously he's playing second base where he's not too familiar. But that's that second hop on a top spin ground ball. He does the right thing, kind of takes that back angle, so he gets down with the hop. He's able to secure it, because the number one thing you have to do right there, you got to catch it first.
Mm-hmm.
And then his legs are just not in the right position. Like he doesn't get. That's why he double clutches with his hands, because his legs didn't get in the right position right away. But to be able to manipulate the body enough to get on top of that throw, and I know it beat him by a step, but I mean, any more bobbling or the throws offline at all in the World Series is over. He throws a strike right there. You're right. Will Smith almost cost the Dodgers a World Series right there.
All I could imagine was,
it's crazy. I mean, it's a very difficult thing, because it's not a base, it's a plate. So there's nothing to push off on.
Right.
Like you're just trying to be on the plate like this. And so, yeah, it'll move instead of you able to press into it. But I mean, dude, you saw Miggy Rowe after that play just like let out the biggest deep breath. I mean, as clutch as his home run was in that situation, any sort of error, game over, World Series done. I mean, it's you got to have the right people in there in the right spots at that time, and they did.
Blue Jay fans are looking at that play through a very different lens. Chris Kirshner, who covers the Yankees for The Athletic, talked about IKF, who came on to pinch run for
Yeah.
Bo Bichette to lead off that inning. And you can see here, he doesn't have a good lead at all. It's actually under 8 feet, a primary lead, which ranked 357th out of 381 primary leads in the World Series. His secondary lead was under 9 feet, which was bottom 10 out of 376 secondary leads in the World Series. His sprint speed wasn't great either. So if he just gets a decent, an average primary lead and an average secondary lead, there's a decent possibility that he beats this play home.
Yeah, I mean, I watched it back a few different times. I'm trying to get in his head right there. Muncy is in. He's close to the base. It is a lefty up, so you do have to think about back picks and stuff of that nature. You don't want to get doubled up on a line out to Muncy, which we already saw one ball go to him with a Jimenez ball. So there are some factors there that will keep you probably a little bit closer than you should be. But I agree, it still looks way too small for me. And the break wasn't great. None of it was great. I know he's not a burner, but I wanted to give a little context, but I do agree with the fact that was not a suitable primary or secondary lead, yes.
Will Smith is the guy that gave the Dodgers yet another lead with a home run. It's something he did in Game 2 in Toronto against Kevin Gossman. This one off of Shane Bieber, who came in relief. And Will Smith caught all 73 innings of the World Series. That is more than 8 regular games. Of course, we had an 18-inning game as well. And let's remember, this guy did not start the playoffs healthy. They could not use him, right? He had the fracture in his hand. There were times where he was like working his way back into playing shape. Remember that when Rortvedt would start some games and then he'd come in and pinch hit and then he'd play from the 5th inning on. Like he was getting almost like spring training startup again in the middle of October. And here he comes up with some of the most clutch swings in the history of Dodger baseball.
I'm just looking at his contract right now. I mean, he's making $16 a year through 27, then it goes down to $12.5. There is a little bit of deferred money, but my goodness, is that worth every single penny and a lot more, most likely.
Yeah, he just has done an incredible job. You're not nearly as old as I am, so you haven't seen as many Game 7s and great World Series. This feels like one of the best, in part because of the 18-inning affair, right? Because that's 2 games in one, and it has you on the edge of your seat and all of that. Some people say, well, it was the only thing that made it great was the 18 innings. And I'd say, okay, yes. So not every inning has got to be incredible drama. Just the fact that we get to a 14th or 15th inning and one swing could end it does make it extremely appealing. The fact that we had a 22-year-old guy who had started less than 10 games, including the postseason, come out and throw a 12-strikeout gem the way that Trey Savage did, and we saw him in Game 7. Then what we've seen out of Yamamoto with 2 complete games and then coming out and throwing 34 pitches to win Game 7 as well. Like, there were so many interesting chapters of this 7-game series. I don't think it's too much to say that over the last 4 or 5 decades, it might be the best World Series.
I think there was a lot of reach in this World Series as well. It felt a little bit bigger than years past because, number one, we had U.S. versus Canada. I think having LA in a big market helps, not only because it's a big market in the U.S., but we obviously have 3 Japanese superstars on the team. So you're getting all of Japan as well. Because Ohtani is as big a star as he is, you got a lot of people interested that weren't really into baseball. He's a guy that goes across genres. I was getting texts from my guy Matthew, like they were all in the food room at the hotel watching the game, going nuts. So like there's a lot of excitement about baseball right now. I think we're in a good spot, and I think this just it pushed it even more forward with the way these two teams played. I think it was again, to be honest with you, like when I was playing, I didn't even watch the postseason, so I could care less.
Mm-hmm.
You know, every once in a while, if like, you know, when the Royals played, I hate watched it a little bit. But I truly wasn't like tuned in. And then even when I was younger, like I love to play baseball. I watched it time to time, but I wasn't as locked in. So I don't have a great sense of history in that regard. But now I've been doing, you know, baseball coverage for full time for, you know, going on my 6th year now. And nothing's felt bigger than this.
Listen, there were a couple other ones that come to mind. The 2001 World Series, because of the way that games 3, 4, and 5 went in New York, and then to come back and have Randy Johnson have an incredible game 6 where they blow out the Yankees, and then game 7. Obviously, Luis Gonzalez, the hero over the drawn-in infield. That's one that certainly comes to mind. The 91 Twins, remarkable over the Braves. That was the start of the Braves run. 86, the Mets being down to their you will remember games 6 and 7. People forget that the Red Sox led games 7 as well. I think it was 3-0 in the middle innings there too. So that's just a handful of those. But this one, part of it is that Vladimir Guerrero, and I know we've talked about him so much over the last 3 weeks, but we have to do it again. I mean, when he pulled his hands in and let off that inning, the last inning with a double, I was like, oh my God. This guy is as smoking hot as anybody I can remember over a 3-week span outside of like a Barry Bonds in 2002.
And not just offensively, Chris. The way that guy played defense too, it was incredible. It truly was the heartbeat of that team. I know you could talk about like a fun guy like an Ernie Clement doing it, but Vladdy was the guy. The emotion was there, but he played. It wasn't like an emotion that was sloppy. Like everything, like he played his ass off, Chris. He was poised in the moment. And then, you know, when he would have success, you saw the raw emotion come out, and you have to root for the guy. I don't care what team you root for. You have to root for him. And I know he's a legacy guy, and a lot of those guys get shit on, man. Like, oh, your dad was a player. Of course you're going to be good. Like, that's not the case. Like, there's been a lot of baseball players, and very few like legacy players have come along. Like that's just, it doesn't happen that often. The percentages are very, very low still for all of those guys. And sometimes I think it can be very daunting, especially when you have a dad that's in the freaking Hall of Fame. So like, I give him a lot of credit for being as grounded as he is with the work ethic that he has. We've questioned him on this show, and we just can't do that anymore. He's a bona fide superstar.
Yeah, and there was a shot of him. I think he was the last Blue Jay in the dugout, and there was a shot of him wiping away tears. Like when
those guys are exhausted. Exhausted.
Yeah, he played 180 games, and I imagine he sat there. I don't know if he was counting outs. I've talked to some guys who have been in that position, and I asked him years later after being in a position.
Dude, they were in bottom ninth, ready to win the World Series.
Yeah. Yeah, they were 2 outs away.
It's heartbreaking. It truly, truly is heartbreaking for Toronto, for the fans, the players. I mean, to be that close.
Oh, man, look at those
and
eyes.
Again, like in 2 Game 7, CS, and now the World Series. So like they're physically and emotionally just drained. And yeah, I feel for them, man. There's a clip going on, and I know the guy's name, and I'm forgetting it right now, who said they played better than the Dodgers.
Here, if you want to hear it, it's Caleb Joseph, who played handful of years in the big leagues. He now covers the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah, I played against him. I know him, yes.
Yeah, he now works for Sportsnet up there in Toronto. They carry the games up in Canada. So, Dan, if you've got that clip, let's roll that for Plouffe here.
Eyes, and I don't doubt him, and I don't blame him for that. And it's going to sound like sour grapes, and I don't really give a shit, but I think the better team did not win this series. I think the Blue Jays are the better team, and I feel like they played baseball a certain way that was infectious, that grabbed the attention of the fans, and it's disheartening to see that the better team did not win.
So I know what he was trying to say. It didn't come out the right way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they were the better team, and because I don't think you could really say right now who the better team is. I do think they played better baseball through 7 games.
I would agree.
I think they played better baseball than the Dodgers did, but they didn't win.
I know. Maybe that says a lot about the Dodgers, to be honest with you.
We talked about how good they are, Chris. I mean, and it ended up being very unlikely heroes on that team. But I still think the stress of knowing you got a game plan for so many dogs, and Will Smith is a dog, and he was one of the heroes. To game plan for so many people, I think it puts you in a situation where, like I said, sometimes you're looking ahead. And when you do that, you get bit. They were the chalk, man. From the get-go, they were the World Series favorites. And here they are. It took them a while. You mentioned the journey was a little bit different than a lot of people thought it was going to be. But they've done an exceptional job over the last decade and a half putting together an organization that is constantly producing talent, finding talent, signing talent. I think a lot of credit goes to the Dodgers, but I do know what he was trying to say there.
I do too.
I think the Blue Jays played better overall baseball in this series. Still wasn't enough.
Right. So the Dodgers, first back-to-back champions in a quarter century. And it also means that Clayton Kershaw, future Hall of Famer, gets to ride off into the sunset. And what a way to go out. Here he is.
It's an absolute honor to be in this clubhouse with you guys. I love every single one of you. I can't imagine a better way to go out than to pop bottles with this.
By the way, I love it that Kersh does every post-game interview. He was on the set with the Fox guys, shirtless. Like, he just doesn't care at this point.
Why? I mean,
good.
Statue guy, a lot of money, a lot of respect. And now how many rings? 3?
3. Yeah, good for him. Dynasty, right? We can agree on it?
I can't stand the talk. Yes, they were a dynasty before this.
Whoa, they were a dynasty before.
Yes.
Really?
I said that before, Chris. You've asked me this question before.
I just want to confirm it now we're here. It's
now really confirmed, yeah, but before they were.
And if not, I would love to hear from people in the comments. And there's a lot of stuff to go over. Yamamoto, Miggy Rowe, IKF's not great lead. Do you agree with Caleb Joseph that the Dodgers got outplayed or the better team did not win, whatever he said? And then dynasty. If this is not a dynasty, what is a dynasty? You guys can let us know. Everybody, free speech. Let's go for it. I'm not going to sit here and judge you. I might.
I'll judge you.
Yeah. So we would agree with that. There's another part of this as well. Freddie Freeman, I think, kind of summed it up pretty well post-game. Here he is.
Absolutely incredible. I think when you walk into spring training, you got the target on your back because we had one the previous year, and everyone's trying to take you down. And when you put on this uniform, you're expected to win, and there's a lot that comes with it, and we take a lot of pride in that. And for us to be able to do it again a year after with immense pressure on us, that says a lot about this group.
I don't want to get into the whole salary cap thing. It is way too early, and we're celebrating a tremendous series and an incredible Game 7. But I do want to ask you about whether or not you think this team is great for baseball or not.
I do. I think we as a sport have reached many, many more eyeballs because of the Dodgers. And a lot of it's Ohtani and the fact that he came and played for them. And so I think that has a lot to do with it. But you need, they can be the villains. Like, there's going to be a certain group of people that love this team, and there's going to be a lot of people that hate them. And some of the greatest teams that you can remember in other sports. Like, were the Bulls bad for basketball?
No.
They weren't bad for basketball, right?
Nope.
So, like, what are we even talking about right now? Go beat them, get better. I said that about the rest of the organizations in baseball. You can talk about their TV deal and the fact that they got a bunch of, different owners that can kind of share the burden. Fine. But find a way to beat them then. Like, you can find ways to beat them because they do a lot of other things really, really well that your organization isn't doing. So, like, just stop complaining and go figure out a way.
Trev, they were one hanging slider and great swing by Miguel Rojas from not winning the World Series.
Yes.
And by the way, it's great when you have a villain too. Like, I'm all for, if you say I hate the Dodgers and I can't stand you, those dudes dig it. I have talked to the guys. They love winning. I'm sure they would have loved to have won it at home, which is something that has not happened for an LA Dodger team since 1963, I believe, right? In 2020, they might have been wearing their whites when they won, but that was in Arlington, Texas during COVID. So they have not won a World Series, clinched a World Series at home since 63, I do believe. But if you were to ask them, they loved winning this game on the road. They loved it. They loved silencing a place and only hearing a small pocket of Dodger fans that have traveled. Because, as Reggie Jackson always said, they don't hate nobodies. They hate somebodies. And they hate guys who have been Superman and world champions and all of that. And that is great. That is great that Dodger fans are, a huge part of the baseball community and population, but also that people can't stand them. That is wonderful for this sport.
I can't get behind people saying they're bad for the sport. I can't. And we're going to get into all the labor agreement stuff, and there's already like hit pieces coming out on both sides. It's already happening. So we'll have plenty of time to get in on it. I already got people in my ear from both sides. It's going to be interesting, Chris. But now is not the time for that.
No, it's to celebrate this and celebrate the game for what it is. I don't want to, not every team could have had that opportunity. Who cares? If you love baseball, tell me what you didn't. Were you ever sitting there while you were watching this extra inning Game 7 saying, boy, I'm wondering about the salaries of these teams? I didn't think about that once because I was too wrapped up in what was going on and I didn't care who won. That was the thing. I just kept jumping out of my seat during dinner. It really was utterly fantastic. The drama was so good. The storyline.
And the guys that got the job done, I mean, what's Miggy Rowe making this year? Like, I don't want to get into it. I'm done.
Right? We're not done. Because we have to talk about the Toronto Blue Jays a little bit more.
Okay.
Who last season had 74 wins and finished dead last in the American League East. Well, all they did this year was end up being the number 1 seed, which is pretty good in the American League, hosting Game 7 of the World Series, taking a 1-run lead into the 9th inning, and unfortunately not kissing the commissioner's trophy. Here is their skipper.
I thought we had chances to sweep them. I thought that we played our game, and our game is as good as anybody in baseball. So is it two heavyweights going back and forth? Going back to the beginning of this series when people were calling it David versus Goliath, it's not even close.
I've been crying for probably an hour, so I thought I was done with the tears, but I just love these guys so much. It was so much fun coming to work every day and, battling with these guys. And we have so much to be proud of, even though, it didn't go our way. All I care about is just hanging with these guys for, another couple hours.
That's Ernie Clement. That's hard to listen to. Really is. Trev, I can't remember a team that's been this close to winning the World Series and having it having it snatched away from them several times, right? I mean, like I said, I was 15 years old when I was watching the ball going through Buckner's legs on my parents' bed. But then the Blue Jays had multiple times to win that game, even after that, or to tie it. And if I'm a fan, I'm sitting there and replaying, probably the last 6 innings of that game in my head. I wouldn't sleep. I could tell you this, I wouldn't sleep tonight.
They had a ton of chances to get the job done. And I think you look back, and a couple times you got to tip your cap to the Dodgers. Then a couple times you got to say we had to do better. Like the Ernie Clement stuff, that Pages goes and steals that ball, you tip your cap right there. He did exactly what he needed to do, put a good swing on a ball. But then there's other situations where they just didn't get the job done. It is very frustrating. They were very close. I'm with you, Schneids. We said it before the series. This is not David versus Goliath.
No.
These two teams were going to have a great series. Didn't know it was going to be this good. That's for sure. And I didn't have the Blue Jays playing as good as they did. I didn't. They truly played great baseball, enough to push it to where they were 2 outs away from winning the whole damn thing. And then that's just the way the game comes or goes sometimes. I feel terrible for them. I do. I never got to play in the playoffs, but I understand how long the season is. And then you add on another full month of just like draining, emotionally exhaustive type stuff. Like I can only imagine what they're feeling. It's a long season. This one's going to sting for quite some time, man. Like it's not fun to start. Like you look forward to the offseason sometimes during the year. Right now, they are not looking forward to the offseason. The offseason seems like the worst thing for them. They want to keep playing ball because they know how good they're playing.
If you were to have a draft in terms of the top offensive players just from this 7-game series, out of the top 9, how many of them were Toronto Blue Jays? You understand what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
Like if you have Vlad ranked 1.
Vladdy, Clement, I'm just going Blue Jay guys Vladdy, Clement,
Springer,
Barger, Andres Jimenez,
Springer, Bichette,
yeah.
I mean, it takes you a while until you definitely get to a Dodger, and really Shohei only because of one game where he had it where he got on base 9 times in an 18-inning game.
They didn't hit, Chris. They hit 200 as a team.
Yes, it actually was the lowest batting average by a World Series champion since 1966 when the Orioles swept the Dodgers. So, yeah, they dominated that part of it. Starting pitching, I mean, Blue Jays were pretty good. Yamamoto was his own category. And then bullpen, like I can understand why Caleb Joseph said what he said. I just can't.
Everyone that watched the series knew that they played a better baseball series.
They did.
I said that no one understood what I was trying to say, but I said during regular baseball games, the Blue Jays were by far a better team. And they just had the Yamamoto complete game and the 18-inning affair, where, by the way, Schneider did the exact same thing tonight. The exact same thing. And Bichette being hurt really, really came back to bite them.
But you don't have any problem with him.
No, I don't. I do not. The Lucas stuff, I might. I know they did that all year, putting in Schneider there, but then you end up having Miles Straw hitting for you in the 2-hole, and then you have to take Bichette out because he can't run. So it goes Straw, Vladdy, IKF. I mean,
yeah.
Like, that's tough. I understand the moves. I'm not saying he shouldn't have done that. Bichette in the 3rd inning went station to station. Couldn't go first to third on the Barger hit. Couldn't score on the Ernie Clement base hit because he just couldn't run. So, like, I understand why he had to do that. I'm just saying it came back to bite him.
Right. Sure did. Man. I think the Blue Jays will be okay moving forward. They're going to have some arms they're going to have to replace. Scherzer, Bassett, Barrios. Obviously, he's got an injury now. We'll see what they do with Bichette. Does it feel like that was his last game?
I mean, I think you have to bring him back. I think you have to, man. You're going to have to compete with other offers, though.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you have to. And I know he wants to come back. And you know what? Everyone says that, and I know he probably means it.
Mm-hmm.
But unless, those deals have to be close. If someone offers them a ton more money overall, you can't fault him for going there. Blue Jays got to pay up. Especially they just raked in so much dough from this postseason, man. They raked in so much extra cash. You better go pay Bo.
Hey, listen, they're top 5, top 6 payroll. It's not like they're cutting corners. Finally, some of their big guys did end up producing. And
People got really mad at me for saying that I thought the Mariners were gonna run into some regression next year.
Yes, you did. Yeah, I was upset with you.
People, you were mad at me too? Jeff
know.
Passan said they were just starting. Whatever. Listen
I'm
to
not
Jeff.
say
Whatever you want.
I just didn't agree with you.
I don't know how to feel about the Blue Jays either. I need some time to think about it.
Well, right. We don't know because we also just don't know what their team's going to look like. I think it's silly for us to say. I will ask you this because I asked it about the Brewers and the Mariners. How do you think Toronto fans feel about their season?
Proud. I do.
Not the what if game?
I mean, they're not right now. They're hurting, but I think they'll look back and damn, what a postseason they had, dude. They just created a bunch of core memories for their fan base. I know they didn't win the whole thing, but they played such a fun postseason. Great brand of baseball. You mentioned it. Go from cellar in the AL East to number 1 seed in the AL, just 1 year apart. You signed Vladdy to a long-term deal, so you have to feel good about that. I think you're proud of that team. I think you truly are proud of that team.
Yeah. I would agree. I'd be curious from Toronto fans if you can muster up the energy to type something in the comments section. So, Dodgers, 3rd World Series title in the last 6 seasons, back-to-back titles. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, you're a stud. You don't have to win another game the rest of your career over here. What was it, a 13-year contract he signed?
He did.
12-year? Whatever. I don't know. I don't know how to describe what the heck we saw out of him, particularly the last 2 days, but really throughout the World Series and the entire postseason. Just incredibly dominant and seemed to love every minute of it too, which is great for him. I love that. So here we go. We will continue baseball today in the offseason, a couple times a week. Plus, we'll pop on for any enormous signing that might happen or trade because we expect plenty of both this offseason. But, man, the playoffs were exhausting because we did a lot of late nights and we were doing stuff after you were doing Talking Baseball. And special shout-out to our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, who, of course, lives 3 hours ahead of us over on the East Coast.
Stud.
There were a lot of nights where, including this one, where it might be 3 a.m. where he is, and he's as energized and ready to go because even though he's a huge Yankee fan, he does love the game of baseball, and, we have a lot of fun with it. So we want to thank you guys as our community. Of course, we're not going anywhere. As I mentioned, we're there. We're your off-season home as well, but, man, this was a blast, and our numbers have never been better because of everybody out there following us and giving us the time of day, which we don't take lightly.
We do not take it lightly. We do work hard and we love what we do. And the community is why we do it. Yep. You forgot to shout out intern Sawyer, who I don't think is an intern anymore by this point.
No, I think actually he might be second in
running
command.
The place.
He might be working on the depth chart just next to Courtney or something like that.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, he spent a lot of time with us, man.
Is he CFO now? Something like that? He's been promoted?
Give me a raise, Sawyer.
Sawyer, good job, brother, because I do think this is probably the official end of his internship after 16 years. Something like that. This was a blast, though, man.
How many years for us now, Chris?
This was 5 years. We started as a little Instagram show, and then we went on AMP. so that we
Hey,
could
you know
talk
who
about
used to come in our shows all the time?
Blake Snell.
Blake Snell.
Blake
Who's the
Snell.
biggest fan of Chris Rose Live, or whatever the fuck we used to call
Yeah,
it.
whatever it was. That's
Look
good.
at us now, Blake.
How long are you going to keep that stash?
I'm not really sure. So I had the Guy Fieri, like the goatee yesterday, and so I was starting to shave. I was like, I feel like I need a new look. I've been kind of rocking the same like beard fade kind of look, and maybe I'll keep the stash and grow the hair out a little bit. I don't know, Chris.
I have good hair work.
I look great right now. I'm not afraid to say it.
Yeah, you do.
And I will tell all my people, I've really cut down on my alcohol consumption, and I feel great. So if you're thinking about doing it, just do it. I feel great and I look great.
You do both.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel
Even
like
tonight,
shit.
I had all my friends over.
That's nice.
Didn't do it.
Didn't do it.
Didn't change a thing.
Yeah. I feel like shit and I look below average, but that's just more of an age thing.
I don't believe that.
No, I'll help you with it.
You got a big day tomorrow too, don't you? You don't ever stop.
No, that's all right.
We'll be next to each other tomorrow.
Oh, you're gonna go?
I'm going. Yeah.
Saints Rams.
Yeah.
All right, just knock on the window. Throw something at me as I'm getting ready to do.
I won't. I'll be at my suite where you can't even touch me. Not my suite.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I know your paycheck, and it's not your suite. This was a ton of fun. Congratulations to the Dodgers and all their fans out there. Make sure you let us know what was your biggest takeaway from the 2025 World Series, because there are a ton of them. We will see you again next week. We don't know which day. It'll probably be Tuesday if the Dodgers parade is on Monday. We'll probably give you something maybe an early Tuesday morning on that one, and then get you all set for the postseason. It's going to be great. We cannot wait. So once again, for our, what was that? What'd you say, Dan? Oh, sorry. I'm tired. It's not, we'll get y'all set for the off season, not the postseason.
Dan, he just wanted one more word in before the season ended. Yeah.
That's good producing on Dan's part. For our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, our awesome intern, Sawyer. That is the uber-talented Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose. Congratulations to your 2025 Los Angeles Dodgers, world champions again of the baseball world. We will see you soon once again here on Baseball Today, presented to you by Mountain Dew Baja Blast.